Sad.
Make a web series. I will make a web series.
Solid burn. Alright, still rolling?
How did we end up inside of these walls? And what is this punishment for?
So in the musical, what happens is you come in and we're all locked up. And then it's a step into Antrius finally functioning as a decent character in the party by inspiring the others to break out into song.
Prior to this point, we've been doing One for All self-funded, so just working with crowdfunding and our YouTube dollars. Thanks to Screen Australia, this is the first time that we have had a real budget to play with. So we are coming out of the gates swinging.
Belting out bars of Bardic inspiration.
The musical was the most ambitious thing that we've ever done. We ended up spending like 35% of the budget on this one episode. A lot went into it, a lot of work. And not just the shooting days, but leading up to it was 4 months of prepping. So yeah, it was a huge undertaking.
We ended up recording in a studio which just happened to be called Kiln Studio. It is funny because Kiln Studio, get out of the kiln.
Get out of the kiln!
How did we end up inside of these walls? And what is this punishment for?
Yes.
Apart from the murder and burning.
The reason we cast Tom was because he can sing.
I've never been to Woolloomooloo.
Please stop playing.
And also, I guess, because he looks like the entertainer in the player's handbook. But mostly because he's got really good vocal cords. So, now that we've finally got a budget, we can finally make him sing a real song.
I will not die before I've loved. I can't deny the world my shot.
I've never recorded in a studio. That was incredible. 8 hours. I didn't realize exactly how much goes into it and how much repetition it takes, and just the amount of energy you have to bring and deliver on the day is overwhelming.
What I reckon we do is just do the whole first paragraph to start with, and then once we've done a few takes of that, we can zone in and do line by line.
Awesome, okay.
It'll make a lot more sense to sort of get you a little bit warmed up and then get you at your most powerful for these choruses.
Right.
So knowing that just writing an entire song from scratch is out of my skill set, to help create the musical, we got Ned McPhee, who is our longtime composer for Deerstalker, as well as Jake Nielsen, who is a lyricist, he's a musical director.
Obviously, Elliot knew what was going to happen in the scene and where we were going to have to get from A to B. So basically, it was just finding a way to throw as much interesting stuff in that moment.
I'm the hardiest, bardiest bard, Antrius brings salvation.
We were going to do it mostly from Antrius's point of view, which is why a lot of it's sort of very wordy and lots of alliteration and a lot of little word plays, and there's lots of words going on. There's diddly doodly biddly biddly rather than sort of elfin and flighty. So I always start with melody and lyrics and basic chords, and I kind of put together my version of the song. Mine just is there on a ukulele or a guitar, putting it together, it's me playing all the characters myself, screaming in my room kind of thing. So Ned gets, a Tin Pan Alley version that he then builds into this epic, wonderful song that you hear.
In working with Jake, we cultivated this great sound of big, bombastic, percussive orchestra combined with a lot of folk instruments. I knew that I wanted to use the mandolin. I've always kind of felt that the mandolin has lent itself to Antrius. You can't hear a mandolin and not kind of have a bit of a smile. It's kind of got that energetic, joyous sound to it. And I think that sums up Bards and Antrius.
So about 6 or 7 years ago, I auditioned for X Factor and I got through quite a few rounds and ended up performing on stage. I forgot a lot of the words on stage. It was incredibly embarrassing, and getting booed by 10,000 people in an audience is confronting. It was so many things that I wanted to do, and to face a limitation like that was huge.
Evandra with her mighty strength of many men goes to any length.
In terms of the singing, I kind of just was like, look, I'm gonna write it so I can sing it and we'll go from there. I wanted to write it as big as possible at first. I wanted to sort of give him a lot to work with to see if he could rise to the occasion, and he really did.
I see a light, walk towards it then. You'll never see your ugly children again.
Beautiful.
That was so beautiful.
Beautiful.
The only thing is, now that we've got the notes perfect, let's get that some real sort of like surprise and niceness on ugly children. Like, let's hear ugly children a bit more with a little bit more relish, I think.
When you're down, you're out, and there's problems aplenty. You'll always come through with a natural 20.
Being in a recording studio with a lot of creative minds was interesting. Jake was an incredible help. He knew what he wanted to hear as far as the song goes. Elliot knew what he wanted to hear as far as the character goes.
When it comes to but anyone can be undone by anyone, like the vision for that is you guys all walk into a room, it's full of guards, they're halfway through like eating a chicken leg, and everybody pauses, and then triumphant like call to action.
When you're down and you're out, and there's problems aplenty, you'll always come through.
I've always wanted to perform and have people enjoy it, and I think a musical was just a culmination of a lot of skills that I admired and respected. So I've always wanted to do a musical. This has been an opportunity to live out a huge fantasy for me. I hadn't really touched much until coming back into this. It's kind of a reforming of what I feel that I could have done a lot of years ago.
When you're down and you're out and there's problems aplenty, you'll always come through with a natural.
Coming out of the group recording session, I was pretty emotional. I loved it. It was incredible. Sorry, there's not many other words I can use. I'm still in awe of what it was.
Platinum.
So this was the only episode that I really needed to focus on continuity quite heavily, because we shot the musical over 3 days and they had to be filthy all 3 days. For that, obviously I just used the makeup grade dirt, set them all up on the first day, and then took a lot of photos for me and my assistant Andre to do every day after that.
There was a point where I literally just thought I would cover my bed in like a plastic tarp and just not bother showering. It was just dirt everywhere, and it was like, I don't know how many showers I think I must have taken before I felt some semblance of clean again.
I'll sing at you. Got it. I fucking do it. Thank you.
How did we end up inside of these walls? And what is this punishment for?
How are you feeling?
Oh, the last 2 days have been kind of rough, but I'm feeling alright today. Probably having 8 hours of sleep helped.
Is that good? Did we get it?
I got it.
Alright, tail.
That's it.
Oh, right in the jaw!
Sorry, dude.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's all you get from Goldie. That's like 10 stars from Goldie.
Is it?
Pretty good.
I said cool the other day.
Not bad.
Yeah. Having a budget from Screen Australia meant that we no longer had to keep the episode contained to a single scene. We could just let it fly free and just expand the scope.
Normally we shoot one for all over like 1.5 days per episode, so a little tabletop bit and then 1 day just to shoot out the fantasy. The musical was 3 full days of fantasy, and honestly it should have been 4, as well as the tabletop scenes, just because we had lots of location changes to make it feel sort of like grand and epic in scale.
So the locations for the musical was a bit of a white whale for me. We ended up finding some beautiful old World War II barracks and bunkers within the harbour of Sydney, and they ended up becoming one of my favourite locations we've ever filmed in.
Tip. And playback.
I'm the hardest bard, Antrius brings salvation. I only tell you this misery. Sorry. Evandra with her axe.
They got stuck on Kendall.
Why, he's on his back. Spontaneous heart attack. What? Spontaneous heart attack. Okay, we'll explain the fire. Then go down and draw out.
Hey, that's
I hate bullies.
Am I dying?
Slip into bliss, you can rest in my hand.
I am the Warden. He is a tiefling prison warden. Sounds a little bit like Dracula. All he's really doing is keeping criminals at bay so that, society can be safe, and he gets a knife in the back for it.
We had one joke that we essentially built this character around, which was to bunk the characters and tell them they're in horny jail.
Oh no! His kid! It's his kid, it's little Dixie. Oh, he's never gonna see his ugly child again.
The stairwell duet with Antrius was not a comfortable position to hold, but compared to Roll to Seduce, yeah, it was not the closest Antrius and I have ever been.
Oh, Antrius. Oh, Rocky.
Like, what is it with Antrius and tieflings, am I right? The shooting for season 3 was 2 weeks of shooting, but we got a week beforehand of rehearsals, and a lot of that was dedicated to this episode.
But not today.
Dance choreography, there is fight choreography, there is stunt work. We had at least 2 days of fully blocking out those actions.
So I got to learn a few actual fighting techniques and then put those into the scene, which was a lot of fun. There was fancy footwork, there was kind of moving different parts of your body all at once and playing off your sparring partner as well to make it look realistic.
And action!
But not today!
I thought you guys said it was too annoying, but now you want me to play it on the kazoo?
No, we really don't.
Throughout the scenes, you've got Evandra and you've got Nixie. They're taking it pretty seriously. Meanwhile, you've got Antrius, who's basically just gallivanting around, prancing about the room. He's not engaged in the fight. He's basically like a Disney princess.
This is show business, just doing the same thing again and 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 again.
Alright, cool. Anyone can be undone by anyone, but not today.
Well done for that. Sorry.
Hey, you actually get Kendall.
Did I? Yay! Of course now I can't.
And for my penis.
Yeah, and for the penis again. I got it 3 times in a row, I hit his penis.
We wanted to end the episode huge. I love that shot in Avengers, in Age of Ultron, where the camera comes around them in a 360 movement and there's all this fighting and crazy action happening and it's all so well choreographed.
5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Alright, I think let's go back to 75% speed and let's do it like five more times at 75. It's really hard to get the shot right, because if even one person misses their mark, that's it, it takes over.
You don't know how much goes into it until you're standing on the set and you see 25 sets of eyes looking at you, ready to go. And you've done all the work, you've done all the thinking, and there's still so much pressure. But you know that it's going to come out good.
I don't want One for All to get stagnant and just always do these kind of like bottle episodes. And so now coming into season 3, I wanted to try something with like long gliding shots, lots of action, lots of choreography. Something with a driving sense of momentum. I'd love to see a sequel. I mean, it was so much work. It was months and months and months of work. But if people like it and I somehow get another opportunity to, I would jump at it for the chance to make a sequel.
And now, another quest! Where should 3 heroes go next?
Can you believe that Antrius got sent to horny jail for his browser history?
Yeah, you'd have to be pretty dumb to browse the internet without protection. Like really, really dumb.
You don't have protection, do you?
I've got these blades.
Well, it sounds like you could use NordVPN. NordVPN makes sure your internet usage is secure by hiding your internet activity from outside intruders, stopping them from stealing your identity. They have over 5,400 servers in 59 countries.
Wow, there are 59 countries? I've never left this apartment. Why don't you let me out of here, Patrick?
Say you've logged onto your Australian Netflix account, but you want to watch something that's only available on the American servers. Simply choose on the map where you want to connect to, and voila, you're connected.
I can watch all my favorites, like Meowny Heist, Strange Fur Things, and Castlevania.
Or the Umbrella Academy.
No one likes your trash show, Patrick.
At the moment, they're doing their 2-year plan sale. Go to nordvpn.com/Deerstalker or use code Deerstalker to get a 2-year plan, plus 1 additional month with a huge discount.
With NordVPN, I can look up whatever I want. Cute cats in my area.
That's it. I'm getting you spayed.
The da-da-das?
You all take psychic damage.
You okay?
What's wrong with you?
Is this your first time on legs?
Yeah, first time legs.